Your site is now finished, although you could add a lot of tweaks and improvements using the skills that you've learned in this course. The final step is to publish the site so that it can be used by a web server. To begin, open the Smart Method Store project from your Sample Files folder. It's important to note that when you publish a site, only the files that are included in the Solution Explorer will be published. Before publishing, you should always make sure that all of the images and resources that your site needs are included. Remember that the web.config files that are created when you add access rules will not be included in your solution by default. If you want your access rules to work on your published site, you will need to make sure that each web.config file is included. Additionally, Visual Studio does not include databases in the solution by default. This is normally what you want, as the database on the live web server will be more up-to-date than the database on your local machine. The only time you will want the database to be included is when you are publishing your site to the web server for the first time. Now open the Publish dialog by right-clicking on Smart Method Store in the Solution Explorer and clicking Publish. The Publish dialog appears. Using this dialog, you can publish your site through a variety of methods. Before you can publish your project, you will need to create a new profile. Profiles store publishing settings so that you can easily reuse them later. Click the drop-down menu and click New Profile. A dialog appears prompting you to name the new profile. Enter Save to Folder and click OK. Although some of the publish methods allow you to publish a site directly to a server, it's usually easier to publish a site to a folder on your computer and then copy it to the server manually. By publishing the site to a folder on your computer, you can also keep copies of each published version of the site. This is a good idea, as you can easily revert back to an earlier version if a problem is discovered with a newer version. Click the Publish Method drop-down menu. You can publish the site to a folder on your computer by selecting the File System Publish method. As well as publishing the site to a folder on your computer, you can also see the Web Deploy, FTP, and Fpse options. Web Deploy publishes your site directly to a web server. Web Deploy isn't supported by every web host, but your host should be able to supply the required settings if they support it. FTP is the most common way of connecting to remote web servers. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. By using the FTP option, you can copy your site directly to the web server. Again, FTP details should be supplied by your web host. Fpse stands for Front Page Server Extensions. It's another way of publishing a site directly to a web server that is supported by some hosts. As with the other options, settings should be provided by your host. In general, the best way to publish your site is to use the File System option and then use FTP to copy the published files to your server. After selecting File System, click the Browse icon next to Target Location. Now navigate to your Sample Files folder and click Open. Now click in the target location box, type a \, and today's date. This will publish the site into a subfolder of your sample files folder with the date that you entered. Click Publish now. The site is published to the location that you specified. Navigate to your sample files folder using Windows Explorer now, and open the new folder that has appeared. This folder contains the published version of the site. You'll notice that there are no longer any .cs code behind files along with your ASPX files. This is because they have all been compiled into the bin folder. The site is now ready to be published to any Microsoft IIS web server. The files simply need to be copied to the server. Close Visual Studio now. And you've now completed Lesson 12-13. Publish a site.